I joined. I did not. I was not drafted. I joined the Navy.
Where were you living at the time?
I was living in Junction City. Well, we'll take that back. Junction City was my hometown, but I was living at the University of Kansas as a student.
Was that in Lawrence, Kansas?
Lawrence, Kansas.
Why did you join the military?
Well, I become a little bit irate because I was eating lunch when they bombed Pearl Harbor in 1941, and well, a bunch of the freshman football players got together and they decided they'd want to join up, and that's what we did.
Why did you pick the service branch you joined, and what is that service branch?
Why did I pick the Navy, we'll say?
Yes, sir.
Because I spent 19 years of my life at Junction City, and I was around Fort Riley, which is the soldiers, all my life. Consequently, I decided I would go Navy instead of Army.
Do you recall your first days in the service?
Yes, I think I do. I spent my first day getting shots in the arm, and well, shots and more shots.
How did you get through it? How did you get through it?
Well, with great anxiety, well, how did I get through it? That's a good question. That night after I got all my shots, I had a hard time sleeping in my hammock because the hammocks kept rubbing my arms where I got all my shots. That's about how I got through it.
Which war did you serve in?
Big pardon?
Which war did you serve in?
Which war?
Yes, sir.
World War II.
And where did you actually go?
In the Navy?
Well, while you was in World War II?
Well, when I went to boot camp in Great Lakes in Illinois, from there I went to a receiving ship in Detroit for several weeks. From there I went back to boot camp in Great Lakes, helped to push boots for about 1 month. Then I was transferred to Motor Torpedo Boat Training Center in Melville, Rhode Island, where I went through PT boat training, which was accelerated. That was in about May of '42. And we went through about a 12 weeks course in 4 weeks. And then I went to Brooklyn Navy Yard and picked up Motor Torpedo Boat Squadron 6. From there we went to Norfolk, Virginia. From Norfolk they loaded our squadron. There's 12 boats to a squadron. They put 6 boats on a Liberty ship with the Roger Williams, and the other 6 boats on another Liberty ship, and sent us to Panama. And they unloaded us. We went through the Panama Canal, got on the far side, on the Pacific side. We let's see, we were loaded back on a Navy ship, the USS Patuxent, which is a big tanker. Took us to Noumea, New Caledonia. From Noumea, New Caledonia, they unloaded us, and on our own power we went to the Solomon Islands, Guadalcanal, Tulagi, Rendova, Bougainville, Treasure Island, and so I spent 2 years, I think, just about 2 years in that area right there.
So you've been to a lot of places, correct?
I've been to quite a few places, without names.
What was your job?
Aboard the PT boat,
Yes, sir.
I was a navigator gunner.
Did you see the combat?
Beg pardon?
Did you see combat?
Unfortunately, yes.
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Come again on that?
Tell me about a couple of your most memorable experiences.
Well, probably the most memorable experience I had, which we had many of them when we were on patrol off of Guadalcanal and Bougainville. But the one that I remember very vividly was coming in off patrol out of Kula Gulf one morning. We were strafing barges, and three F4U Corsairs that belonged to the Black Sheep, Pappy Boynton, I don't know if you remember him, came out of the sun, and they thought we were barges, and they strafed us. And I lost 3 good friends on that strafing job. That's about all I...
Okay. Were you awarded any medals or citations?
The only citations we had is the Asiatic Pacific Medal with 5 stars, which each star represented a battle of Guadalcanal, Rendova, Bougainville, Treasure Island. That's all. That's all.
What was your rank when you got out of the military?
What was my rank?
Yes, sir.
Quartermaster, 2nd class.
And what exactly is that?
A quartermaster in the Navy keeps charts of all the waters that you're working in. It also you log all your logging when the boat goes underway and where it goes and when it's come back moored. It's just a general history of the boat.
How did you stay in touch with your family?
By email, not email, but they call it free mail in the Navy or service. We could send letters back and forth, no charge whatsoever.
So it's just basically just sending them without putting a stamp on it, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What was the food like?
Well, PT boats, we operated from a base. We operated at nighttime and slept in the daytime. And we had a base force that would cook our meals for us and everything, which consisted mostly of powdered eggs and Spam.
Did you have plenty of supplies?
We had plenty torpedoes. We had plenty of 50 caliber bullets. And I don't know, I guess we had a good supply of Spam.
Did you feel pressure or stress?
I didn't have stress. We had pressure on patrol at night sometimes. No, I didn't have any stress, just pressure.
How did people entertain themselves?
Well, we would be fortunate enough to make it back to the base in the morning after our patrol at night. Would always unwind by playing cribbage or acey-deucey, just sort of a backgammon game or something like that. But mostly cribbage. I was a great cribbage man.
Were there any entertainers that came to your place?
All the time that I was in the South Pacific, I never did see a single USO show. They just didn't show up.
What did you think of the officers and fellow soldiers?
The crew aboard a PT boat is real close. It usually consisted of 8 men and 2 officers. And I can remember I was one of the youngsters aboard ship. I was 19 years old. And the old man of our crew, he was 22 years old. He was the old man. But as far as the officers are concerned, they were real young also. Our executive officer was he was the one of the first classes that graduated from the academy in 3 years. and he was a real youngster. In fact, we'd go on Liberty in Panama. He'd put on dungarees and go on Liberty with enlisted men. He figured that he had more fun there.
After the service, do you recall the day your service ended?
Do I recall the day of the service my ended?
Yes, sir.
I can recall it. Yeah, they gave me $21 muster and out pay. I remember that.
Where were you when you were done with the service, sir?
When I got discharged from the service?
Yes, sir.
St. Louis, Missouri. What was the name of it? St. Louis, Missouri.
What year was that when you were discharged?
1945.
1945.
December the 5th, 1945.
What did you do in the days and weekends afterwards?
After I got discharged?
Yes, sir.
In the days you say following?
Yes, sir.
Well, when I got discharged at Rosenfield in St. Louis, I walked out the gate and hitchhiked to Lawrence, Kansas, where I met my brother, and he was at the university, going to the university at that time, and I spent a few days with him before I went on back to Junction City.
Did you go to work or did you go back to school?
I enrolled in the spring semester of 1946 at the University of Kansas to continue my education.
Was your education supported by the GI Bill?
It was by the GI Bill.
Did you make any close friendships while in the service?
Like I said before, the 8 men and 2 officers aboard a PT boat were real close. We had a lot of good friends accumulated there.
Do you continue of those relations?
There's only 2 of us left of the original crew of the 126 boat, and we keep in touch on special holidays, Christmases and birthdays and things like that.
So you do keep in touch, right?
I do keep in touch with that one individual. That's all that's left.
Did you join a veterans organization?
I am a member of the American Legion and Veterans of Foreign War, and I'm a member of the Navy Amateur Radio Club. That's about all.
What did you go on to do as a career after the war?
What did I do for my career after the war?
Yes, sir.
After I finished my bachelor's and master's degree at the university, I came to Onega, Kansas as a teacher.
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about military in general?
You want to repeat that again?
Did your military experience influence your thinking about war or about the military in general?
About my only question I'm going to say to that is that I do believe in peace through strength.
Do you attend the reunions? Do you attend any reunions?
Yes, our PT boats have a reunion every year, and but it's getting to the point where I don't know hardly anybody, because there's 12 boats to a squadron, and there was 40-some squadrons of PT boats. Well, we were in Squadron 6, which Squadrons 1, 2, and 3 were destroyed in the very first part of the war. Squadron 4 was training squadron at Melville, and then 5 and 6, which was our squadrons, we were the first ones to go back out. But I didn't, we do have reunions, but I don't go anymore because I know why go if you don't know who's there.
That is all I have, sir. Thank you for coming. We appreciate this very much. Our generations after us will appreciate it too. Thank you, Mr. Rosenfield.
My pleasure.